We've got the duo, Valdemar and Myriad. No longer frenzies, Cal. Now enemies.
No longer friends. Is caster duo turned rivals at this point in time. We're starting off with a spicy one already. China versus HRE.
Ooh. Now, this one is quite interesting, actually. The dynamics of play, we're in a Pro Scouts meta. China's favored because of that. China's just favored over practically any Civ because Pro Scouts is so damn good. Rare exceptions being probably Xi, which do all the things that China does to do Pro Scouts well. So, knowing that there's going to be Pro Scouts, the meta logic is if one player does it, the other one has to. HRE can, but you don't want to rush the play. So, likely what we're going to see out of Myriad here, you could go for a Spearman Dark Age Rush. I'm not totally crazy about that against China, just because Imp Academy means they don't care as much, and it would only delay the Pro Scouts timing. Most likely, Myriad should be looking to play into the feudal, open with stables, poke at the collection of deer, and then, after he's got a few horsemen out to harass his opponent, go for Pro Scouts. So yeah, it's a delayed time for HRE, but it tends to have more success than just mirroring the play with no units on the field.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I mean, we talked about this earlier in the day, where it's like there's been a lot of different responses to Pro Scouts, so we'll see which one we go for here. I would not actually be surprised by Myriad going with Dark Age Spears. Again, it's Gorge. We have seen it earlier when you doubted me. But let's figure it out. Let's load into the game already.
I mean, it would slow the Pro Scouts timing. Let's get into game number 1. Former friends, now destined to kill each other. Gorge to open this series, Myriad of the HRE, Valdemar on the Chinese. And it does look like Myriad is building a structure at home. The Rax Rush is coming. So, let's dissect this. For a start, he actually got the perfect spawn to do it against. It's a 4 gold for Valdemar. This will not stop Valdemar getting his tech up. What it can do is stop him from rushing Pro Scouts.
Yes. That is the main goal, right? And this actually hurts a little bit more than you normally would think, because this is an IO-less opening as well, right? So that means that you do not get any text gold. Which means then in turn, well, you're going to be struggling a little bit in the early game when you have that food, or sorry, that gold denied. But one option that we have seen Valdemar actually be using quite a bit is actually he likes this Archer China play.
Oh yeah. It's dirty as all hell. So the Archer strategy, a few players done this quite well. Anno's another one who does it frequently. Puppy Paw is quite good at it as well. The logic is that you just accrue so much gold off of taxation. I've seen games at 16 minutes where without touching a gold vein, someone's sitting on 1,300 gold. It's ridiculous how much you can get out of the taxes. So, and the thing is, on this opening, all he really needs is 135 gold gathered off of that vein, and he's fine. Like, if we check the vein right now, like, this is the point. Like, you need to stop your opponent before 135 is removed from that.
Sir.
This is not a good start.
Sir. Sir.
You know how you're like, oh, yeah, he needs to do, like, Dark Age Rax opening, and that's how he beats Valdemar. Would you like to refund this build? I'll give you 20% of what you spent back. Oh, wait, Valdemar? No.
Look,
no. What?
We're trying to be nice here, guys.
Okay,
but that is nothing short of a mistake from Myriad.
But it also it feels like a mistake from Valdemar. 3 on the Imperial Academy, he could have had 2 and had another worker out here. That would have given him the gold for a taxman. Because as much as we talk about how, you know, China likes to cook the books and they lie about the numbers they have, because the book cooker knows that the numbers are lied about, he requires hard-ass cash up front. 35 gold to be specific. Valdemar is short of the required quantity. He has no taxmen. This is what I believe the kids call cringe, Cal.
We need, and can we click on the mine real quick? The lumber, sorry, the mining camp. Yeah, that's 10 gold. Okay, so it's not that much.
No, but he doesn't have a tax back. Like,
sir, Myriad!
But legit, if you select all of Valdemar's units. He doesn't have an IO. No tagsman!
What?
And he just built an Imperial Academy.
So it's fine. Look, it is okay.
Is this like my dog died or my nan died and you're comforting me okay?
No, it's actually okay. Like Myriad didn't actually have any follow-up to this. He threw away one of the spearmen because God knows what they were thinking and what they were doing. But he's still going to be able to get the gold to get taxmen. And when he's able to do that, then all his problems are solved. And as we talked about earlier, there is the archer plane.
Wait, did he actually get enough? I think he's short.
Yeah, it did.
No,
It's
no,
30.
Is it 34 or 35?
Oh, no. But click on the Imperial Academy, please.
Pretty sure
It's 35. It's 35.
yeah, it's 35. All right, so I still think he doesn't have enough. He didn't drop it off. All right, so this seems very nitpicky, but it's detail to get your build right in the opening minutes. He's going to go off the mining camp. He'll eventually have it. I honestly think that the double spear opening has paid off for Myriad. Sorry, triple spear opening.
Absolutely gotten all of the value that you could ever want out of this.
And he got it exactly the way you're expected to with this build. You know, that is definitely how, if you guys go and play an H3 versus Chinese game and do this exact opening the way Myriad done, where he walked over the gold and then walked away from the gold and then walked back to the gold. And this is exactly how it will pay out in your Chinese versus H3 games too. We just collectively decreased everyone's elo by 200.
This is so absurd how we got to this stage.
Right? And we're only 5 minutes into this game.
This series.
Which makes you wonder what's going to happen next. I mean, it's not like Valdemar and Myriad are incompetent players, noobs who just turned up in a qualifier, right? These are two very capable lads. Valdemar, I think, hasn't been able to put as many hours in at the moment because I think he's been busy with studies because he's got upcoming exams.
Yep.
But, you know, Myriad, I think he's quit smoking. I'm trying to come up for a sponsor.
Yes, he did that too, so
both of them are, like, they've got distractions, man.
So, at least, like, Valdemar is slowly starting to get to a pretty okay position here, right? He's gotten IOs now, he's gotten his gold. He isn't necessarily going to go for any sort of song play. I think he just wants to kind of just dent Myriad in. And Myriad actually the one going with the pro scouts.
Now, part of me can't help but feel that this is because he's expecting Valdemar to do it. But if Valdemar does do it, he's sort of far behind. But this is the dynamic I talked about that makes pro scouts so stupid. Is if one player does it, the other one has to do it, right? Like this is 100%. Timmy at school has got the latest Pokemon cards. Dad, I want the Pokemon cards, right? So expect the moment that Valdemar sees him picking up deer, for Valdemar to also go do it as well. In fact, is that 4 out on the gold? We might already be at that point. Yeah. That's pro scouts.
For sure. So yeah, this is just base defense. He canceled a tower. So do you just the problem I have with Valdemar's idea right now, which is kind of just seems like Tang just one TC
God.
just all in.
I mean,
is there it is.
Like you say, so, all in. He's just standing there.
It's the best word I can have to describe it, right? But the best thing I can think about here is like, why would you do this, right? Why would you go for this option? Like, HRE is going to be out ecoing you anyways, because they've had this Aachen, they've had this boosted economy for so long. You're not even on Song Dynasty. Yes, you have IOs, which actually does contribute very, very much to your eco. But I'm starting to think that Myriad is playing this similar to how you play versus Delhi, which is just mass man-at-arms. And there's no Shuganu to counter this.
No, I mean, but Jiganu would struggle, right? Like, you need to get the Barbican, you're already behind. You know, the reality is he has to get units out on the field because if you don't, your opponent fast castles Regnus anyway. And my
Is he-
worry is, oh god,
Why
no.
is he out on stone?
I mean, this is death, right? Because this is a Burgrave build. Myriad went Pro Scout, so he can Burgrave. There won't be a second TC value. Now, we do have to question someone here. How many Imperial officials is he up to?
He's 4. He's
Okay.
3.
Okay, yeah,
actually.
so we didn't see any weird idle time or
he's 4.
anything.
Okay,
No, he
he's
is at 4. Okay. So, it's looking good there. A lot of taxation to work with. Valdemar is going to mirror the fast castle play. Now, funny thing is, Myriad, he's already got a few men-at-arms. They'll be worth vetting up, adding in a few. The cool play here is you men-at-arms, and after you build about, like, 7 from the Burgrave, you switch mass spears. You basically set the foundation for Valdemar to be hoisted on his own petard, because the moment he sees MAA opening, he's going to want to start pumping lances.
Yeah, this is strange. It's the best word It's the best word I have.
This is a pristine example of how the opening minutes of the game can completely evolve the rest of the state of the game, right? Like, there was so many weird things that happened in that first 3.5 minutes that this is where we're at now. And it is going to be Regnants.
He has the production set up. I think he has 2 barracks, right? So, yeah.
One, right?
I mean,
He's
this
at
is...
now, yeah.
This is Burgrave at home.
Yeah, this is like, you could have went and had like a Five Guys burger, or you could have just like got one of those, you know, those microwavable ones that are like $1 at your local supermarket. You know, it'll fill.
Just needs to be careful not to throw this away, though. If he's able to get these upgraded... I mean, Archer's not the fastest. At least a little bit faster than Shuganu, but... Horseman going to be getting away. This is just a good distraction as well, right? Because there's... You know this is happening, and that means that you're completely safe. I wouldn't mind, actually, Myriad now having... I think that's even a Scholar might be moving out. Probably still in the Aachen.
So, that right there, by the way,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like this is my thing for today. If one of those scouts that's pro scouting had just walked over, he would have been able to like snipe the men-arms.
Yep.
That still forest screwed him hard.
For sure. But now here it comes. Here's the pseudo Burger Palace. A lot of investment into those barracks. It's going to be paying him off pretty well, but he's going to be spotted a mile away because, well, Imperial Palace.
We'll see. But we do have all the upgrades already in, and Valdemar is divesting. He's going into the crossbows, lances, and the monks. That's a lot of things to compete on. And it worries me because like the crossbows won't be able to come out into the mid-map, right? So men-at-arms with heavy maces should be able to contest the lances and the monks. Because men-at-arms already have their upgrades. Already getting into a good fight up against the feudal age army.
So here's the thing, right? Like, these men-at-arms are more efficient than they normally would be against China because of the lack of sugar. There's no Song Dynasty, we've said this before, so January transition even is just not something that's reasonable. But not that we need to do one right away because we have this Pro Scout, but this fight is a lot of time that Valdemar is buying. It's not a good fight for him, but it's time that he's buying. He's trading army for time right now. Actually, he's winning the fight, never mind.
Yeah, no, Myriad overstayed his welcome 100%.
Yep.
The moment the 2 crossbows arrived, he needed to walk away. But he's so fixated on this relic. And I think he just had a prelate walk out and walk back.
Yeah, I mean...
Okay, no, it's just the men-at-arms.
Okay.
But all that effort? And you aren't even going to get it. The Lancer's already blocking the other side. I can't believe this. Valdemar is blocking almost every objective Myriad's targeting. He's only got 1 relic coming home.
Yeah, and this is something that Valdemar is really, really good at. Just, you know, understanding what's important, what's the next objective. What is the next on the checklist for my opponent? And he's doing that really well. Obviously, HRE, it's a little bit easier to do because, well, relics pretty high up on that list, but it's also understanding where is the next objective as well, right? You saw that Lancer on the relic, just kind of camping it, making sure that he's not being able to bring that home. Myriad only bringing 2 home so far, while Valdemar is going to be pumping 1, despite being HRE, and despite we're almost being 3 minutes into Castle at this point.
Looks like it is going to be free soon for Myriad, though. Good strike on the east side. Lancer, that was a nuisance last time, won't be able to remain so. So, Valdemar, he's trying to mobilize to the south side at this point. But the worry here is whether he's going to be quick enough. You have to remember that marching drills difference. This crossbow mass, I don't even know if I want to call it that, only 7, isn't exactly fast.
Yeah, so now it depends a lot on how OP our man-at-arms, right? How long can we actually sustain this? How long can we actually hold this before China just kind of takes over?
Oh.
Right, we have these taxes that's kind of just stacking up, and now we actually have these man-at-arms.
I mean, they're not being started away quick enough. Valdemar hung around a little bit too long there. So he's getting a good fight here, but there's a bigger problem behind this cow. It's that relic. Myriad is trading out here while getting the real win condition.
Is indeed a man-at-arms. They're doing pretty well now on these crossbows. They can't be kiting. It is HRE man-at-arms, remember. It is ye old reliable marching drills, and as vodka, there's no way you can't be going imperial with this.
Yeah, he is. I mean, Valdemar, like, so this is a perfect situation because all Valdemar has is crossbows. You can't dive a TC with just a small group of crossbows, right? It's like, this is the classic issue of like, yes, there's upsides to getting crossbow mass, but it doesn't give you a dive kill point the way you'd intend. And the cool thing about Palace of Swabia is like, yeah, you might lose 10 villages to that dive. Who cares? Just replace him, you know? Like we were saying earlier about your puppy dying, just get a new one. That's what Palace of Swabia is that friend that just tells you they're really cheap.
This is... I'm not 100% convinced. There's so much investment that Myriad needs to do, and he's soon going to be running out of gold as well, right? Right?
Sure, yep. He's going to be dirt poor. Yep. Oliver Twist. Please, sir, please. Definitely not going to have a ridiculous amount of passive gold for the next ever.
So, yeah, I'm still not 100% convinced on this one. It might potentially kill him. Like, what Valdemar is doing well, right? He's turtling up. He has a second TC that has been going for quite a while. Like we saw him try to move out on that stone earlier when it was caught out.
Wait, is he doing what I think he's doing? We've got a Barbican to siege play.
So I'm expecting Valdemar to be uploading a video soon on his YouTube, youtube.com/Valdemar1902. 16-minute Barbican drop build order.
On the enemy stones that you can gather what you need for a second TC, right? Oh wait, sorry, third TC.
Third TC.
Of course. It's just an organic build for the Chinese, really. Crackety will be the first to repost it, of course.
This is absurd. I like it though. I mean, he's going Song after going to TC, which is the good thing here. Myriad has hit the Imperial Age. He's collecting a lot of stone, trying to wall up. Going to be getting a lot of these defenses. I'm fully
can we
expecting...
check vision? I don't think Valdemar knows about the corner route. No.
Oh.
So Myriad could technically snake all the way into that corner because Valdemar, like, he isn't doing it because he's assuming Valdemar picked up the east corner relic. So yeah, Valdemar just kind of missing out on the easiest relic in the game to pick up.
He is full walling, right? And yeah, here's what I was fully expecting. That's the cannon emplacements that's coming through as well.
Hey,
So
wow, look at that Song Dynasty effect.
Ay. And
Wasn't it a 20 villager lead like a minute ago?
no,
I think it's close to.
maybe.
That Love Hotel, man.
So Trebs are now going to be start working. Obviously, this is just kind of... It's on the same realm as putting a timer, right? It's just going to be annoying to have to deal with, right? Constantly checking back. Okay, which building is being attacked? Which one do I need to emergency repair? Which one do I need to replace potentially, right? If it didn't emergency repair. Obviously, emergency repairing an archer range. It's not the best thing unless it's the one to the north of it, which is actually having the crossbow. No,
it's another one. This is one further away.
That would potentially be very annoying, right? But what Myriad has done here is used emergency repair on the building. Valdemar switch targets, We're going to be seeing this over and over again until that Treb is taken down effectively.
Yeah, but the problem is it's only one Treb, and Valdemar's feeling on this is not good, right? Like, he got more relics than me, and he has Palace of Swabia. He hasn't scoured the Palace of Swabia, but he knows. There's no realm in which one PC H3 aren't going to do it. So this has really put Voldy on the clock, and that's why you're not seeing him just fall back, build farms, go for Imperial himself. He needs to oppress the HRE.
And it's tough. It's a really tough thing. You can see him now, like, he's shelling up. And this is something I've heard so much from him when he's coached me. Just make onions. Make onions. And that's the main thing, right? We see onions now starting to come up. Myriad is trying to wall himself out. Himself in, sorry. He's moving out, and he's now even dropping a market, which obviously means that, like, he kind of needs to do something. And the military count is kind of starting to be non-existent for Myriad. And none of this is actually really on the southern side. All of it's on the eastern side, up to where his eco is. So it gives Valdemar so much time to do whatever he pleases at the moment.
Yeah, we've actually got Myriad going Elite Horseman, which is ballsy. I mean, you know, you're talking about a guy who has, I think, maybe 10, 12 farms, right? That's not enough to flood Horseman non-stop. So he has like one punch in this. Oh, we're talking about Myriad, right? Like, he's around the arc, and I think he's got about 12 farms. Yeah, that's 16, still not enough, right? You want to be up to 30 farms, or you want to get this bloat going. So a little bit tricky. Valdemar definitely has a window. He's really trying to be balanced about his approach here and getting Nesta Bees plus the Trebs, right? To deal with the crossbow mass. I think the bigger, more important thing is to glance the possibility of stables here. He does have the vision from the bar, because if we check, I'm pretty sure he should be seeing these horsemen coming out. Yeah, but it's like, you need to look instantly or not see it.
This is going to be a long one.
Sparta? Oh, okay.
We have Myriad wisely placing all of his stuff in the back, right behind the static defenses. The thing that Valdemar, I don't know if the Barbican really sees any of this. He hasn't, like, he doesn't see any of the walls, he just expects it. Oh my gosh, this is the other players, isn't it?
Oh, kind sir, I see you forgot to wall your base. Let me help you with that.
But yeah, one of the things that Valdemar is really hesitant on right now, and he's not using to the fullest effect, is actually like moving out and seeing any of the pocket resources in the corner. Because if he's able to shut those down, a lot of the eco for Myriad is actually shut down. Like, if you could just check how many fills he has on gold in that northern, or sorry, eastern.
It's about
Western.
17. We're talking about Myriad.
I'm sorry.
26 now. Bloody
Cardinal directions in English is not something my brain works.
Yeah, Vodka, if you could just check every single pocket resource, it'll be great. I mean, you know, we pay you to do your job. Come on. No, I mean, the bigger problem here, right? The reason why it's not facing those flank resources is it will weaken his hold at the center of the base. Valdemar has like an all-in condition. If he goes flank raiding, he changes the dynamics of the game entirely. Until he's in Imperial Age, he can't really afford to do that.
Yeah, and this is spotted out too, actually, now. And that, as what highlighted, that tower doesn't actually have any upgrades as well. So now we're just really at this awkward position. And look at the walls that Valdemar... If you're walling in your opponent, it's not an onion, it's...
I mean, it's... You know what it is? It's a cake that has a file in the middle of it. And Myriad is that file.
Okay, interesting. So we're gonna be having some full-on fights now. These horsemen taken down super quickly now as well. I feels like these Nesta Bees are holding so well that siege. I mean,
the problem is the crossbows usually don't like fighting the spears, but there's so many of them. Valdemar is just getting wiped on the siege. Myriad's
needs to pull back these Trebs. He needs to save the Trebs for as long as possible.
It feels like it doesn't matter.
The only good thing right here for Valdemar is the fact that he can't really break through the walls as quickly. He has to culverins, but it takes a little bit of time for him to walk back.
He is, however, flooding horsemen with almost 2,000 food income now, which isn't all entirely reliable. He's got 8 on the board, about 9 on the berries, but the farm transition will continue behind this. So Valdemar, he has got the tech up coming. that is going to protect his farmlands on the backside. And the other good news about this one for Valdemar, he leaned his farms to where the 8k gold is. So, not dead yet, but Myriad very much alive.
Yeah. Fortunately for Valdemar, taking down one of the landmarks is does not remove Song Dynasty. That actually would be a pretty nice nerf to Chinese, all things concerned. Anyways, so Sacred Site victory 5 minutes away. I don't think that's realistically going to be anything. I don't think there's any piece of static defenses anywhere on the Sacred Site, so that means that Myriad can now very effectively just break out. Little small note, by the way, Valdemar actually picked up that relic.
He did, yeah. He moved over there for, I believe, is it berries? Might have been the 4K. Yeah, I think he moved with 4K. Berries in the 4K, yeah. And then the outpost actually gave him the vision. So meaning the gold, we do have Myriad moving out for his 8k vein now. Pressure is ready to be applied here. Valdemar doesn't have any Nestor bees for defense now. He just has worse crossbows.
Yeah, Tight Barnes going through. I'm not 100% sure what switch Valdemar does. I want to say hand cannons just because he was China, right?
Yeah, and he does have the 8k in the corner. So, like, you don't rush hand cannons. Valdemar will know that if he just switches hand cannons right now, like, you're doing it into mass horsemen to begin with, but it's also you can't even get the units out quick enough. So, spears, crossbows, fight, gradually use crossbows, replace hand cannons. And the cool thing is, because he's got the 8k, he's got the 4k secure, he does have the gold to do that with. What's scary is what happens, say, 20 minutes down the line when there's no gold left on the map.
Yeah, Myriad did manage to secure the AK gold vein in the south as well, so... Now, what I actually would like to see a lot here... Talked about this yesterday when we were crossing KTMM. So, no, it was Thursday.
Yep.
Inspired warriors.
It's always awkward to slot in, right? Because, like, it's a game of quantity at this stage, not quality. That's the problem when you're, like, massing horsemen like this. And also, Myriad is now got 133 eco, so, like, he'd have to build a big reserve, kill some of it, and then he could afford to have relics buffing. It's always been the issue with Inspired Warriors. That's why it's so good on Order the Dragon and feels so bad on HRE. So maybe down the line, you know, I'm that person who's keeping you, like, in case I want you as backup jar. You know, maybe in the future we'll do it.
Maybe in the future. Alright,
Yeah.
at least there's hope. At least there's hope.
So you're not saying
Anyways.
never.
It's the most important part. So, now we're at the point where Myriad needs to do a little bit of a switch. We do see biology coming in as well, so he wants to stick to those horsemen. Could potentially go into a couple of knights here and there, just to be running into Valdemar's eco. And we are adding in a lot more production. I just am a little bit unsure if Myriad can flip the script effectively and actually be starting a Sacred Site timer himself, because these onion walls that Valdemar has built when he was essentially just buying himself time with that Barbican, because I think he knows that trebuchet play would never work, right? I don't think he ever was like thinking like, oh, this is my death push, because it didn't feel like a death push.
I think at first he thought this will never work, but when he started to add more of them, I almost feel like he began to believe, you know? Like, one trebuchet is like, come on, do something. But he went 3 trebuchets, which is more like, oh, he's just giving me all these free kills. So yeah, I think Valdemar, the hilarity is I'm looking at these walls, and I was just thinking, if you shoot this minimap to someone, and you gave them 3 guesses, they would guess the player.
Wham, Avely, Valdemar.
No. What? Wham, Louis, Valdemar.
Wham, Louis, okay. I mean,
Yeah.
Avely is number 4 then.
Yeah, definitely.
So, but
And
yeah,
if
this
Cal
is...
comes back.
And if Cal comes back. That is very true as well. But yeah, this feels very, very weird. I mean, right now Myriad as well, actually, one small detail. He is actually going incendiary as well, doing a hand cannoneer switch.
which is crazy. Like, Myriad being the first one to do this, and remember, his are worse. And the even weirder part is that he's queued up incendiary arrows while also switching hand cannons.
Yeah, like exactly that, right? And he just needs more static defenses right now. He just needs to be able to secure up the resources, his base, anything. He just needs to have these static defenses. His entire face is just completely open, right? There is walls in the front of his base, yes. That's not his walls.
No, the horsemen are coming back home to defend here. Now, keep in mind, Valdemar doesn't have that many spears, so this is going to be a mop up the crossbows. And he stopped just shy of actually reaching the economy that mattered most. So, Myriad, we're going to mop up a big chunk of that crossbow mass. Valdemar is still not switching to the hand cannoneers. Myriad is getting that breathing room to now grow that number.
So, big question for me now as well is who will start the siege massing first, right? Myriad, he has to go for the mangonel upgrade. It's a very, very expensive tech as well. China, they have their upgrade as well. Don't remember exactly what it's called, but it's a really, really good tech.
The barrels, right?
Additional barrels, yeah.
Yeah, additional barrels. It's nowhere near as good as adjustable crossbars, though, right?
It isn't, right? But it's still an upgrade, and you need siege to break
look
the
at
other.
that. We have siege.
But my point is, you need siege now, right? This is the entire point of the siege update. You need siege now to actually be able to break your opponents, hold a little bit. If you get adjustable crossbars, as Myriad actually possibly can do because he has that relic and Regnitz, it's possible. One thing I do want to mention, though, I think that for Valdemar, he put himself a little bit on more of a timer than he actually was because he had never scouted that fourth or final relic, right? So when he was able to pick up that relic, he kind of just went, oh, okay, it's only on 3 relics, so it's not as bad as I think it is.
The interesting part here is that we have mangonels getting massed up. But Myriad lacks the gold, right? He's tapping his final 4K vein. Like, I feel as if the hand cannon choice may have cost him more than he gained. And this is ugly. Horseman just getting massacred trying to get through a palisade. No ideal. Valdemar's onion wall is just paying dividends here. The final gold is not going to last long, right? So, like, at this stage, Myriad cannot add any more hand cannoneers. And we're at the stage where Valdemar can begin.
One Dynasty now. Wonder if Pagodas has been put up, and look at this. 20 palace guards, 12 hand cannoneers. We are... We are zooming, and oh my gosh, that's actually open.
Huh?
Oh no. What killed him? Why is that not finished?
I mean, I don't see a wolf.
I don't see a wolf either, but now adjustable crossbars on its way in, gets some good shots, but they're gonna be missed and dodged away, but still not upgraded here. Now Valdemar is taking his fight, buying himself a little bit more time.
Yeah, but he knows where this is going. When you see 3 mangonels this deep in the game, there's no doubt in your mind your opponent's going adjustable crossbars. This is a struggle. Valdemar has to rely heavily on men-at-arms to now win the game. Like, you can't go Nested Bees. It's a terrible idea against adjustable crossbars. I've seen it multiple times, and it never works, because the range disadvantage just kills you before the fight begins.
Okay.
Just making sure it's definitely dead cow, okay?
I mean,
really, I saw a rock moving there, okay?
So it's actually not as bad as you think it is from Myriad to do actually, if he did that on purpose or accident. Barbican, if you only tap it once with a hammer after it's been destroyed, it still gives vision.
So better safe than sorry, because I have seen players snake that before. It's bloody crafty. Fast coming in. Now, right now, Valdemar is making Myriad look like a dumb old man. You're like, oh, wow, look at these dodges. You can't hit a single thing. But now, instead of hurling rocks, we are hurling giant explosive grenades. Adjustable crossbars is it.
There's a small part of me that's like Grenadiers.
Please. No.
They suck, but you know, still exist. On another serious note, though, I would not mind a small group of fire lasers.
Could potentially work. I think Myriad needs to start getting the men-at-arms pump going a little bit faster here. And I got caught at a weird point in the transition. Valdemar, the reason why he's not just getting flattened like a pancake is that Yuan Dynasty is giving him that kite. It's on point with the micro, buying enough time, so the man goes, forced to retreat here.
What's
What
stacking
Valdemar
up some
really
damage.
he needs to hit something other than the army. Trade is running into his face though. Perfect.
And that was one of the first couple of traders as well, right?
Yeah.
That was one of the crucial things I wanted to point out earlier, but the problem is Myriad was actually able to secure it. I wanted to point out earlier, Myriad has zero access to trade because it's behind those walls, but no, one of them is in fact open just a little bit. But I'm not sure if it matters. Look at Myriad's supply right now, it's at 150. Valdemar's at almost 200, and he has plenty of resources in the bank, both of them. Myriad just doesn't have the production for some reason. He just does not have enough in queue. He doesn't have enough. Valdemar just pumping. And this kind of just feels like he can just keep on going with this, and there's nothing Myriad can do about it.
Yeah, the interesting part as well is I was kind of surprised Myriad even tried for the trade with the wall still being up, because it would have got scoured either way, right? But this is desperation mode, man. And he can't afford to replace the Mangan out that being lost. Producing them out of here, the worst case situation. I think the hand cannoneers, more than anything, might have just cost Myriad the game. Just so slow, so expensive. And not something he was willing to invest in long term. I mean, I was shocked he even tried in the first place against Pyrotechnics. And Voldy doesn't even need that many HCs. It's just all about the PG.
It's all about it. And the problem is as well, look at Myriad's bank right now. He queued up so much, but most of it, like one of the things he was massing earlier, which is not doing anything for right now, it is those horsemen, right? If he had a couple here, at least it would be able to soak up a little bit of damage. And now we just have a keep drop straight in his face. There will be more keep drops, by the way, because look at Valdemar's bank. He's 200 pop. He has so much food coming in. It's not even going to be finished. It's a doubt keep, but the best kind of it. Game number 1 goes to Valdemar after what looks like an absolutely failure of an opening.
He tried to end it with a signature move with the Barbican, and truly does end it in his most comfortable way. Valdemar is just renowned for these keep drops. He does them so often. It's just pretty much a get the hell out of my game maneuver at the end. But, you know, Myriad, the shaky ground, it looked like there was an opening. I think Valdemar left kind of a gap for him to potentially play through. But you mentioned it, like the walls just bought so much additional time. Had they not been there, very different looking game. It's interesting that Myriad went for the classic Imperial Age rush. It almost felt like he got baited by it. It seemed like it was going to work well for him, but the thing you have to keep in mind is, like, if you don't have any counter push play immediately, which is what the will stop happening, HRE isn't better in Imperial than China, right? HRE's advantage is I will get Imperial Age a lot quicker than you. China's advantage is more prolonged upon that period, as we saw the pyrotechnics coming through, as we saw the movement speed. Yuan Dynasty in itself pretty much just relegates HRE, removing the one perk they have around their military force, and actually just outdoing them because marching drills only affects infantry, while Yuan affects all. A great opening game, and something we should expect out of Valdemar. After all, that right there is what I still, like, you know, a lot of people say China's his signature pick. I still think Abbas's is that. We still potentially have that for game number 3, but Roos seems more like the king of the hill. Before we get to that, Cal, it's an Ottoman pick. A classic comfort for Myriad.
Interesting.
Okay, let it out. Just let it all out.
Interesting. That's the word I'll use. Out of everything that I expected on this map, this is not even remotely close.
I think it makes more sense than Delhi, but yes, French would have seemed logical. I think he was correctly worried about the Ibids, because, like, IU feels pretty damn good against French, right? Like, there's not much you can do against that Desert Raid opening, especially with Dervish play, because you're a civ that just wants to build knights. So I think Myriad made the right choice based on his draft options. The question mark is whether there should have been something drafted instead. But you know what? Let's see if you can prove us wrong. It's time for game number 2. Valdemar with the opening win. We head into Lakeside to see if we're getting a 2-0 or a third game.
In we go. So, see what we get here. I would have been very surprised if it wasn't actually a dock opening from Ottomans.
It's the value, right? Because that's the thing that they get cheaper.
Yes.
But Ibids do them one better. You pay 100 wood, I pay 75.
Ye old reliable. Okay, so yeah, there won't be any military school shenanigans. Industry wing.
This has to be. I don't think industry necessarily. It's not the right type of map for what I think you're thinking of here.
Yeah.
You need to be able to actually dock drop your opponent. More likely, Valdemar's thinking fast castle. For Myriad, he needs a long feudal. If you can make it a long feudal, Sipahi feel pretty damn good here against Desert Raiders because they just wipe them so fast, and with the extra range, they can even like chase and very quickly kill a dervish. So like Valdemar, like might simply play it safe like growth advancement wing. The temptation of the dervishes is very high these days though. So we might be seeing dervish opening with a desert raider to poke into growth wing castle.
Hmm. The problem is though, Janissaries.
Yeah, but that's why you play Gulam.
Yeah.
I think Gulam has been slept on way too long with this super fast castle. Like Camel Lances is cute, right? But Gulams are eternal.
Yeah, I mean, Gulams has kind of just been like falling off. Pretty, I almost feel like for Abbasid as well, right? People are just like realized, especially with other game mechanics, that Camel Archers is pretty strong and just kind of been chilling, right? And we've kind of been moving more and more into just like movement speed gameplay, it feels like, right?
It's the best stat in the game. Like,
Yeah.
if you see a unit that beats you, you can avoid it. And then you can chase down units that you're favored against, right? Like even Horsemen, it still feels like a unit that I hear people regularly complaining about, and they want to see a buff here or there. Still has viability though, right? Just not dominant everywhere, sure, but I don't think people would want it to be a dominant pick in every single game.
Yeah. And, well, we do kind of keep on chilling. I think Valdemar went up with more fishing ships. Like, why is he 3 ahead?
That's because Ottomans have a weird and fun bug. I know.
Yes,
Another one.
because that one doesn't count, does it?
No, because I believe the reason was that Ottomans got copy and pasted at some point with their identity compared to Delhi, just without the attack on the boats. And if you remember, for a while, Delhi boats, the fishing boats, were counting as military vessels, not as eco, which is why, if you look at Myriad's military count right now, for some weird reason, this noob has built 5 scouts or something that just isn't showing on the UI. I don't know what it could be, Cal.
Don't know what it could be. Anyways, Sultani Trade Network coming through as well. So normally I would have gone with Twin Minaret Madras, just because it's such a good option. However, I think a little bit of the option, or like a little bit of the power of the TMM, is kind of just like doesn't feel as impactful because you have fishing, right? You already have like very, very good food income, so you might as well just have very good gold income as well. But as we highlighted earlier, Valdemar is actually going with the dervishes, so that still doesn't tell us too much. If he wants to be playing a long feudal, or if you just want a fast castle.
You want to force a reaction, right? Like if you play a long feudal, it's going to be Sipahi. I wouldn't really favor Ayu there. It's a really struggle matchup, like when it gets going, because what an Ottoman player can do is a long feudal gives them vizier points. It gives them the meta with the melee armor, which means that sure, I don't hit as hard with the Sipahi against non-desert ready units, but I also have a lot of junkiness to myself. So like the horsemen feel like they're wielding classic swords. So yeah, like for Voldy, you're probably going to be seeing stables into a desert raider opening, build 1 or 2 maximum, poke the front resources. He might even decide not to now that he's scouted the lack of madrasa, right? Because like the logic in why the desert raider is good is idling the gold, but if your opponent's passively genning gold, it kind of loses its flavor.
Yeah, so stable. Myriad is actually full on investing into water here as well.
So this will bait Voldemar to do the same.
It'll still favor Valdemar, I think, though, just because of the...
But what do you think about what you get out of this as Myriad? There's that nice little unique mechanic to the Ottomans that the more units I build, the more things I get.
That is very true. that villager barely is escaping as well, right? So now it just depends, right? Valdemar he's not even queuing military ships anymore. He's just queuing desert raiders. He's kind of just been like, okay, cool, whatever. I didn't invest that much into water anyways, and I've just let you invest a lot. So he's gotten 1-1-1 in terms of military ships. I think Valdemar is kind of just doing the thumbs up meme right now and kind of just going, cool, I'll go castle.
Yeah, which is what we wanted to do, right? If you want Ibis to win anyway, like it just makes sense. You don't benefit from a long feudal. There are certain civs in the game that, like at different ages, get what I call age plus, right? So, for example, Royal Institute French, that's castle age plus, right? Kurotai for Mongols gives a castle age plus because you get damage buff bigger than what you should be able to get. For Ottomans, the vizier points create an interesting, consistent dynamic through feudal castle, which is the plus ages of vizier. So, like, actually just getting ahead of your opponent in age up protects you against that advantage. And we should be seeing just a very healthy growth wing here. He could go spicy if he wants to. Trade wing would be a bit RNG, but I mean, we've seen it once today already.
Yeah, I mean, it has to be growth wing. I don't see anything else being reasonably added. Again, industry wing. This isn't Dragvan.
Yeah, I haven't seen Valdemar do.
Yeah.
I have not seen Valdemar do the Tower of the Sultan yet. So
Yeah.
if we click on it, we can find out.
Yeah, it was growth.
Oh,
wing, like
yeah, growth. Yeah,
it wasn't clicked, but you know there was a wing that
be.
was. I mean, anything else just wouldn't make sense. So yeah, this is really good for him. Like Sipahi here is going to be able to actually be dealing pretty decently well with the Desert Raiders, right? We can see here now the fight here. It's dealing pretty well.
Nice heal.
Forgetting about the heal, by the way.
It's so dented. You need free Sipahi. So this is the point where Myriad could actually kill him, but you need to target the Desert Raider. Like, if Valdemar... Yeah, if he just micros this right, and this is the thing, if he hadn't taken that fight earlier, he'd have free Sipahi to finish this off. Instead, it's just one.
One more.
He can't. He didn't activate Fortitude.
One more. Just one more. That's all you need.
Oh my god.
Oh
he
my
didn't
god.
activate Fortitude.
He even popped the Imam point.
We've got a heal off. Oh no. But the thing is, I think the issue you have here is like the Imams could actually get killed by the Desert Raider. Bit of a spiker there. Valdemar hanging around too long. But he's got to be happy with this, right? Myriad is nowhere near an age up. Valdemar's is already past half complete. He's got more Desert Raiders queued up as well. Myriad actually needs another Vizier point. He needs the meta.
Oh my god, this is so dumb.
Welcome
I love it. I
to
love it
feudal healing.
so much. And the problem as well, here as well is that dervishes heal while they're moving. Imams don't. Well, they do, but like they're not targeted. But
it's more a case they can't kite, right?
Yeah,
so like you can dance around the mid map these. If he brings the Imams out, they're just gonna feed, right? But like the real frustration here is like in the opening play, Myriad panic rush to protect himself. If he just waited for the first Sipahi, easy peasy kill.
This is so chaotic. Well, H-Up is coming through now, and he's able to hover up those relics pretty effectively, right? He's gonna be losing a couple of Desert Raiders for it, but he has so many Camel Lancers in queue right now even. So, this Imam point, unless he's gonna be able to secure one relic, but the Imam point kind of feels a little bit like a waste. And Valdemar looks like he wants to be going for a second TC here.
And speaking of waste, that landmark for the Ottomans right there. I'm just calling it. I think Imperial Armory's dead.
Mass Pringles though.
I didn't realize B was in this series too. No, I think you just gotta go for the palace now. The extra Vizier points are so valuable, especially in a game like this where you went for the Imam point. That means your scalability later in the game is even worse now. Long coming out. No, we never try that.
No.
Hey look, a unit that has more health, heals itself, and also debuffs cavalry that would try to kill it. I see no problems here.
I see no problems. And outruns the counter while carrying a relic.
So the funny thing about this matchup is because they both went for the Healy boys, it makes you realize that Ottomans is just a poor man's Islands. Right?
Yeah.
Like, you just do the same build worse. Because the imams can't play in the map. It's so infuriating. And, you know, low health, low movement speed. Like, it's just all negatives for you. I think in this game, what Myriad should have just been looking to do, if you really want to commit, like, Sapahi need to be scaling earlier for the pressure point, or you just ignore it. The good news for Myriad is Valdemar has probably chosen the worst thing to build here right now. Going into mass lancers only against Ottomans. Janissary is already queued.
Balls. Second TC has been dropped by Valdemar, and it almost looks like a third TC is on the way. Lancers targeting down the Sipahi. Not losing any. Need to be careful how I phrase that one, to not cause a curse hit. But yeah, it looks like a third TC is even on the way for Valdemar here. Unless he's doing some stonewalling shenanigans, which, considering last game, not out of the question actually. Now, however, how do we deal with these Janissaries? That is my question, right? Do you go archers? Do you go crossbow? Do you go Gulam?
Archers makes the most sense. Like, now that he's chosen camel lancers, realistically, Gulam plus archers would have been even better, right? It's more cost efficient, and it gives you the mass movement, it gives you the counters to everything your opponent's doing. But the other way you could try and play this is mangoes gradually. Like, manchniks are pretty good because they can't be dodged, right? So you know your opponent's blobbing a lot of Janissaries. Janissaries are very squishy on the 80 HP. So if you just have like 4 incendiary bangos, they can wipe that backline quite quickly in a fight.
Yeah, you need to be able to build up to that point though. As a counter to that though, imams. If you get a decent number of imams, their AoE healing does, I would say, pretty well against effectively poke damage. I almost want to call it with the Manjanique fire, right? You need to be able to target fire them, and then you can sidestep them easier. But he is going to be going for archers to see that upgrade in queue right now. He doesn't have that much food either as income, so it is the best choice here when you are this kind of starved on food, it feels like.
Yeah, one thing I have right now is, you know, there's a little bit of worry is whether he can actually posture to defend himself on those deer if it turns into a static fight. Like, Valdemar's comp right now is I need to kill and raid. And that kind of sucks because you lost water, right? Like, if he actually had water right now, we get that transport ship play. With the Camelots in the back, Myriad would be in a really tough position here. Instead, you've basically built Lancers to defend, which I can't think of any cavalry unit that feels good to build because you're defending.
Well, dervishes, technically.
I mean, technically, right? Like, is there any? Maybe
warrior monks.
Yeah, but like I'm talking about like real units. You know, I'm gonna build 50 of these. Are you gonna build 50 warrior monks?
Real units?
That's true. People are noobs. They need to start building the monastery.
I mean, have you
landmark.
never seen the Congate Palace?
True. I'm telling you, like the meta, we're gonna switch. High Trade House is gonna get nerfed. Then everyone's gonna build Abbey of Trinity. And remember, that discount now applies to all monasteries. So what you then do in the late game, as a Rus player, you ready for this? You build 50 monasteries, and it is the Rus's version of the Board Monk strategy. And anyone who uses that owes me 20% of their earnings.
Yeah, so you're not getting anything because I don't think anybody's going to do it. That's right.
I mean,
now,
there's probably at least one psychopath who's going to go do it now.
Probably. So now we actually have a really good raid coming in here for Valdemar, and this just kind of extends his eco lead, right? We have seen Cass drop that third TC, right? I can't actually see properly on the minimap. Okay, so he must have spent it on...
He got emplacements.
Yeah. So he's on 2 TC, which means his eco lead is going to grow. Myriad, yes, he has water, and it isn't shown, but honestly, those 4 fishing ships that he has right now, nothing compared to the scaling, which is the key word here, scaling 2 TCs from Valdemar.
Yeah, the other interesting thing is, like, why he didn't go 3 TC? It's way too greedy. He just doesn't have the long-term food. He needs to prioritize army. I was kind of expecting a key drop towards the center, just so that he can cut the map, so that Myriad doesn't have mobility on his side, right? Like, he has to go too wide. But yeah, for now, Sabahi, at least just trying to keep the Lancers away. The problem is Janissary is just so immobile. Valdemar, a bit of a weird choice here. because Janissaries no longer function the same. They used to get countered by anything ranged. Now it's a specific tag, which archers would give you. For some reason, Valdemar has mass crossbows.
I think it's just that he wants the base damage against the Sipahi, right? It's the only logical thing I can think about.
I think he's just playing on the idea that crossbows is love, crossbows is life, which in the current meta is 100% true. Like, crossbows is the best unit to be able to scale, right? But it could have been a lot more cost efficient with the archers.
Trying to get some more Pro Scouts back home, though, it's not going to be an option. Lancers taking a little bit of a fight. Hasn't been adding more Lancers, by the way. He's been stuck on 9 for quite a while now.
I think he's farm transitioning behind. We got about double farm cluster, maybe a third coming in.
Yeah,
so.
third should be being added now. We saw that on minimap. Wheelbarrow coming in for Myriad. Need to be asking for that 17-minute wheelbarrow build order.
It's
But now-
Ottomans, so yeah, at this point, we're pretty much just trying anything.
True, that's fair. So we are up to 2 mangoes. Third mango is on the way shortly. And actually, unironically, I wouldn't mind seeing a switch over to Springles. But unironically, on the other hand, when we are in this kind of stalemate position, Trebs.
What, for Myriad to break in, yeah. So I don't think he actively wants to produce them. He'll know the economy is not on his side. It's probably a better investment. Instead of going Trebs, just focus on your win condition. Keep drops could make a lot more sense here. Right, we're down to 8 minutes on the clock. He's gathering a lot of stone. Probably adding in an extra military school, but just keep the stone gathering going, get a keep or 2 in here. And there you go, there's the first one. So yeah, Myriad, firmly agreeing. He set his win condition in mind. Now, if at any point that decap comes in, this game is essentially moved. Valdemar will have the full advantage. For now, it's him who's going to have to react to this play.
Yeah. I look at Myriad's macro as well right now. It's a very gold heavy, which is a little bit concerning, but he does have that Sultani trade network, right? And weirdly enough, like one of the few units in the game that actually costs infantry units that actually cost a lot of gold more than food is actually Janissaries. So his eco actually is pretty well set up for massing Janissaries. The big problem for me is the fact that there is these 4 Manjanique out on the field. And if we get one good shot, and Myriad's not paying attention because we are in the stealth forest, Valdemar has added another scout here so we can actually see what is going on. One shot, it is incredibly scary, and you can even see Myriad is like preemptively is just spreading out.
Yeah,
he
hasn't
does
got a
not know what the heck is going on in his force.
He just queued it up, so Scout's finally going to be on the way. But like, that's why he's playing so reluctant, understandably. He wanted an intercept opportunity here. Valdemar just hiding in the stealth forest. Does see that Spahi rotation. We'll soon discover that castle drop on the sacred site. Myriad, I don't think he can directly fight this. He needs to get some eco damage done and then get a snipe on the Manjanique line.
Yeah. Just needs to be paying time.
Oh, damn Spahi.
Oh, we talked about it.
fuck.
We've never seen this being done by Valdemar, and here it is. Taking up from the best Iabid players there's out there. The 2 kids, MSN and Dragvan, and now the other kid, the original kid. Is learning from the best.
Yeah, trying to prove that he is still the master. Here, the mentor. So we've got double ram plus the Tower Sultan. That's basically 5 rams worth of damage because the Tower Sultan hits that bloody hard. And Myriad does have the answer. It is in the Sipahi. But if the Sipahi are busy taking down that siege, they're busy dying to the Manjanique. So it's like a choose your poison type situation for him here. So Valdemar steps up to the mark to remove that win condition for the Ottomans.
You camp the Sultan tower on the sacred site, and then you kind of just hope it attacks the keep. That's how you play this, unless you leave it unprotected.
I think the ram can do it. I think the ram's slightly on the edge there. Yep, get the decap. So force him to stand here. Mango shots coming in big. He doesn't even go for the incendiary shots, which means that AoE heal feels pretty worthless here. Archers the body
Mango's not
blocks.
being microed on the back there. Neither is the Janissaries. Mangonel's finally starting to target the archers here, but they've gotten so much value already. Mangonels, the Manganiques, both of them just going so good shots, and everything is just reduced to ashes, it feels like at this point.
Janissaries can at least now get in to mop up a few things, but damage really being done. At this stage, what really matters is the decap opportunity. The Sultan almost dead, but the Mangoes stay alive. Big explosion comes out. Ram is looking for the final shunt, doesn't quite get it. So Myriad keeps the castle alive. The timer is still ticking. Valdemar may have taken a favorable trade in terms of like raw economy of archers killing Janissaries and Sipahi. But Myriad's still alive. Second keep drop coming in, and Valdemar now needs to rebuild from scratch.
It looked good. It looked really, really good. And that reason for that was a little bit of a miss micro from Myriad. He didn't micro his Mangonels properly, so they were attacking the front line for a bit there. But now, as you said, Valdemar needs to remax his army. He needs to be moving out. He's trying his best to decap, delay the timer, delay the sacred site. But that time is being spent by Myriad so effectively on repairing siege with Janissaries, because remember, that's one of the bonuses they have, and building a keep on this sacred site. So now Mangonels moving up, see if he can get something, if he can get a couple of good shots here, but just trading back, and Mangonels should be going down to Sipahi. And Mangonels, that is so much effort and so much resources taken down in just a tiny misstep.
And well, the misstep was caused by the villager repairing. The villager repairing pushed the Mangoes towards the enemy. It stacked 2-on-1 and gave that double trade for nothing in return. Myriad, you're licking the lips, enjoying life right now. That was a freebie that shouldn't have been there. Griefed by his own attempts to make them last longer. Voldy still has this raw eco lead, but it's not really the lead you think, remember. He's 2 TC, sure. Myriad now has 2 TC, but on top of that, the thing that we haven't really talked about and been accounting for is the passive production. Remember, those military schools have been padding Myriad's economy in a deceptive way. He's never really been as far behind as you originally would have thought here compared to Valdemar.
There's a crucial thing Valdemar is doing right now. Look at what he has in queue. Ghulams. Ghulams versus Janissaries and Sipahi. It's not the best unit, but it's a good choice. But look at what Myriad has.
Yeah, hear me out.
In Castle. In Castle, mind you. Yes, it's worse. But it's a great bombard. It is a little bit worse than the Imperial Great Bombard. Don't mind, it has the same name. Pretty much.
But it gives him a way of sniping at the Mango line, and it'll be AoE damage. It gives him a way of playing 10-ping Gulam. I mean, this is pretty annoying. What a read. I mean, it's a gamble, right? We talked about these investments of points that can come back to bite Myriad in the arse. First, it was the Imam point. Now, the big investment in the Great Bombards. But with this win condition on Sacred Sites, the game shouldn't be going late enough. So this shouldn't hurt.
Bye-bye, Spears. Kaboom, it says. Needs to be taking back that Great Bombards. Needs to be start focusing. Needs to be hiding.
It matters.
It matters. Take those out, and you actually have a really good fight here. But look at this, the Great Bombard, so effective. The 0 point immediately just taken out of the equation. But now the Sipahi, there's no front line, so Sipahi able to get on the back line here, though. But this fight is looking really good for Valdemar here for a second, because of the fact that those Meheth is no longer in on the fight, and Mangonel's now taken out by Valdemar as well. And now, this is the vibe. Trickling Sipahi, trying to take out the backline here. But most important of all, win condition. Ding, ding, you hear the clock ringing now. Valdemar is starting to be desperate.
It doesn't matter that Valdemar looks like he's potentially winning these fights. I mean, every time he gets close, he gets in keep range. He doesn't fin the Janissary in the end, and just a few are able to deal with the Congo line of death. Valdemar just doesn't have the quantity on his side here. The production isn't far enough forward. He's not able to leverage it in the fights, and the eco lead has been shrinking as the minutes go on. It feels undeniable that we are going to a game 3. He does not have the numbers to crack this shell.
Trebuchet is being started. He's trying everything. He's tried every single siege unit now, except the sprinkler. Maybe that is the missing key ingredient. I want to be helping that copium just a little bit. Treb's now starting to work on this keep. Myriad just maxing. Valdemar's numbers looking a lot better as this 2TC play has paid off in the long run. Maybe he was a little bit greedy then, but it's starting to look like it might be paying off. But he has a minute bell rings 3 times. That is your final warning that this will be the last time that you will hear that sacred side. Boiling oil coming in now. Rams trying their best, but now the backline Myriad looks like he doesn't have enough units to actually be protecting this. Valdemar needs to be started stepping the mangonel, so that is the way that Myriad holds this. Keep as well needs to be staying alive.
It's not quick enough to kill on the mangoes. I think the meta actually had the melee armor, which will affect the mangoes, by the way, reducing that spearman damage. So Rams, only 2 of them to deal with this. The repair crew is there and being ignored. Villagers have been pulled, but Valdemar, villagers will not be good enough. They're going to get massacred by the castle. He pauses the timer, but does not get the decap. It just feels too hard to believe here. The Ottomans, a rare sight in 2024 late and 2025 now, are gonna win in competitive.
Oh, timer still paused. It's just pulling villagers, but they're not standing on the sacred side. Look at the timer! You can barely see a pixel of the color of Myriad there. It is so damn close. The keep is starting to burn, but it's being repaired as we keep going. Timer still not ticking. It's finally started back again, but Myriad doesn't look like he has too much. He needs units on it. He needs units. There's nothing there. Villagers, start moving! Move, you little... Oh, the tower needs to go up. He needs something. Just everything. He's just throwing everything
this is
he's
desperation
had
to the extreme. He
He
needs the castle gone. The castle is too repaired now. Valdemar's got double Treb, but it's not doing enough work anymore. The outpost is up, but what does it provide you? Some shenanigans, some clown cards, since Ivans can't do that with Rams anymore. It's not going to be enough. The Janissaries are going to cut for them all. And Myriad is looking to guarantee us a game number 3.
This is coming down to the wire so much. He's looking to see if he can get onto the other sacred side. He just needs to have the timer pause for just a little bit. He's holding off units as much as he possibly can. Villagers being pulled with the torches in their hands. He's not standing on the sacred side. Get on the sacred side. Everything
he wants the
needs
mango.
to be on the sacred side. Villagers being used to fight now. Sipahi, that we haven't seen on our screen, has been able to take down the trebuchets, so there's no more siege for Valdemar. He's still standing on units. Get on the sacred side. Everything is on the sacred side right now, but it is just more. The timer's ticking, and that is the game going over to Myriad, and game number 3 in this series will be happening.
Valdemar clearly having a little bit of a short-term memory issue. Totally forgot there was a castle on this site as well. I mean, a crazy one there. I think Valdi, in hindsight, is going to realize he should have just went with the trebuchets in the first place. That was the play to clear the keeps cleanly. That would have given the opening. But by the time he started playing the trebuchets, there was no time left to wait around. And he replaced so many units in those fights because they were dying too fast. That's the difference that mattered here. The lesson that Valdemar is going to take away from this, we rarely ever see him being on Tower of the Sultan, and this is going to be a reminder to him to why that is the case.
Oh my god, Valdemar is annoyed after that one. My god. That was surely something. Because that is so down to the wire that it's incredible.
And now, I mean, I'm trying to think what we had draft-wise left over here. Because Valdemar, I think his draft looked a little bit better overall, but like there is going to be a little bit of a roll of the eyes of this type of game. I mean, Myriad, for those that don't know, this guy basically earned his stripes by playing English and Ottomans primarily. Those were his like number 1, number 2. So for Myriad, for a long time, his core has felt a bit crippled, right? Because Ottomans got basically thrown into a ditch a long time ago. If there's a man who's going to make it work, this feels like one of the players that potentially can. So, you know, this opening play almost just condemned him to a GG. Valdemar just showing why this Dervish play just makes them a better Ottomans in the early game. I think actually, if the micro had been a little bit cleaner, Valdi arguably never even needs to retreat there because of Myriad just overextending. Then we fought to this fight. That was the one where we saw the castle on fire, but the Tower of the Sultan is just realistically feels like a meaningful investment. I don't think it makes sense over additional Rams if you just want to kill a building, right? Because that Tower of Sultan costs 1,000 resources. It does 600 damage. So you could build 5 rams, which do 1,000 damage, or build that does 600, right? The math just supports the logic going the other way. Now, there was a little bit of firepower in this fight. I was thinking in the grand scheme of things, it was negligible. And I think, we saw some interesting strategies as well. Valdemar essentially blocked that Sapahi raid by using his archers, the unit that's meant to be countered. But Myriad, in that desperation, wasn't really focusing. I don't think he even used the attack speed buffer in that engagement that would have broken through faster. But can't fault him, man. In the end, he made it about the Sacred Site win condition. We've seen players fail far too long in the game to actually capture this. We saw Dragoman earlier just drag it out a bit too long before going for the cap. Myriad showed you that you don't need to go for the hyper late game, even if you have a Civ that are fabled for it. Win conditions matter. Identify your timing and put everything behind it.
This is a little bit of an exaggerated example of that. Let's put it that way.
Commit to your dreams, okay?
Don't let your dreams be memes. Just do it.
So, we have the problem. This is what I was talking about with Valdemar's draft, is that he had a Bastards, which has been a very popular pick on King of the Hill, or you could just have the easiest win in the world. Roos is the de facto king here. The gold generation, how easy Pro Scouts is, the follow-up into Horse Archers in a meta where walling is harder, even on defensive maps like this, has me worried for Myriad. And French would not be in my top 5 to be picked on this map.
Chamber of Commerce?
I'm not even kidding. I've seen that on Mountain Clearing as well before. Admittedly, it was a Bronze League Legends game, but technically it was a caster game. So sure, let's go for a little bit of Lecoq Sports. I have a feeling that it's going to be socks on for Myriad, but it might be so that he can walk out the door. We head into King of the Hill, where the Roos just feel like an emperor amongst kings.
Yeah. Opening here for Valdemar, I would be very surprised if it isn't double hunting cabin. And it is, in fact, going to be just that. Please leave enough room for your high trade house.
Apparently he has not. That is definitely not enough room. I hope Valdemar realizes that he's going to be ruining his luxurious high trade house in the corner. High trade houses, which on this map can generate upwards of 260 gold a minute in those corners. So yes, by far, this is the go-to Civ. In fact, with the midweek muster, we had a week of King of the Hill being the default map. Boy, did that change people's approach to banning, Cal. For the first time in a long time, Roos were getting banned very early phase.
Understandably so. But yeah, it's not what people usually think, which is like the Kremlin drop in the middle. Like that's not the reason here, guys. The reason is just the amount of passive gold and passive income that Roos gets. High trade house with the combination of Horse Archers being and Golden Gate being so good means that you don't need villagers to be able to get resources to trade with your Golden Gate. And that just frees up so much resources to be used on other things. And by saying freeing up resources, I mean you're able to get other resources. So yes, the villager counts, you'll never see 2 TC on this map. I really hope I don't jinx that, by the way. You'll never see 2 TC on this map because of that reason, right? You don't need the extra villagers. You put everything into military, you quickly take the sacred site in the middle, just fortify it just a little bit, and then you just take map control and just dent in your opponent.
And the other annoying thing is this Civ is immune to feudal pressure.
Yeah.
I'm not exaggerating. It's actually stupid. I've cast way too many games of Roos now in the last 3 months, where they can be 18 minutes into a game that they are winning and still not have touched their gold vein.
Yeah, and one of the things I remember this really vividly, is we were at King of the Rockies, and basically what happened there is we got a little bit of a preview on the patch so that the players at the LAN was able to practice and start thinking. And one of the things I remember saying, and I really wished it was true, was that, oh, so you can actually deal with Roos in Dark Age. And then it takes like 2 hours, and then Dabson just comes running up to me, and he's like, so you remember about that Roos Dark Age? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, yeah, no, not at all. And I was like, great. And what I think it was Puppy or Wham, or I think there was watching some live stream, I can't remember exactly. It was exactly this build. It was the double hunting cabin opening.
Mm-hmm. It's just obnoxious. It's just so much free resources on practically any map, right? Like a bad case scenario, you get between 2 hunting cabins, maybe 35 gold a minute. It's more than enough when you accrue the extra resources from gathering on your sheep, gathering on your deer. And then the golden gate is just a chef's kiss to get you there, because all you care about is horse archers. So the only way you can actually prevent the roost is by preventing wood gathering. King of the Hill is theoretically a map where you can do that to a certain degree, but it's also just very easy for your opponent to short wall the corner and gather what feels like infinite wood.
So we've seen this now.
Yeah.
That Valdemar has just been going as spears. And this is fairly interesting. So it's not very wallable for Valdemar. I would still actually just go for some walls, to be fair.
It's probably timing, right?
Yeah,
I think he's
it's
paranoid about the logic of like how long those walls would take to build. And I think he's also paranoid about the pro scouts.
Yeah. It's a double-edged or dual-edged sword, and that's what it's called, right? It allows you to play defensive, it allows you to play a little bit aggressive. You're realistically not ever going to be getting the most out of them, but it's a good response still, because you have that knight, and having a knight against your scouts when you're trying to pro scout, it's bloody annoying.
Yeah, and the other interesting thing here, actually, can we check the sheep count? Because something that's quite funny is like, Roost just casually pro scouts and don't get punished in this map, but they often don't necessarily need it. Alright, so we've got 12 sheep here. Other side, Valdemar should have more.
Oh.
No! Now, that is a rare sight, because typically Roost always get a huge advantage on this map because of the linearity of it. Because you go double scout, right? And then you guarantee get a lot off of one of the scouts, and you take away from your opponent on the other one. So I've got a feeling what happened is Voldy played north-south and didn't go center, and Myriad hit the jackpot kind of edging around the center here. That's surprising.
That's the first scout lost there. Myriad should be able to pro scout, but he has pro scout through. Right, that's the important thing here. Instead, he has a third knight in the queue right now. It does slow his hunt or his gathering quite a lot, but it also secures his deers quite a lot.
I think, look at this right now. I mean, Valdemar delaying the gathering the scouts just enabled the knight count to now just out past the spears, right? It feels a little bit weird. I think he's going to struggle to get that many deer home.
Yeah, and we are playing out on the map now as well with these spears, right? So it's very clear as to where... Oh,
I'm kidding.
Her.
Yeah, Valdemar, every time he thinks he can confidently come out, there's one more knight. This is worrying me a bit.
Yeah,
Has he gone double racks?
But that's the thing, right? I don't think so.
Oh,
but
God.
Myriad has gone double stable, right? And now we're running out of sheep, and we've barely got any... I don't even think we've gotten one deer home for Valdemar. But the most important thing here is that...
now he's getting played a little like a fiddle?
Yes, that's the thing, right? So, you don't... Like, you've scouted your opponent going... you scouted your opponent going professional scouts. Why in the world are they making more knights? This is not what you're supposed to do. We have chivalry on the way now.
Yeah, I mean, because he's basically been circling in around Spearman. This is a bit of a misstep there. Myriad not paying attention. Because why would you expect to see a group of Spearmen in the middle of the map this early? That is a ginormous slip up by Myriad. Chivalry just lost an insane amount of value. Getting a bad feeling here. I mean, Myriad, if he kept that trend going, kept those knights alive, he had a really cool transition to double archer range, which would have punished Valdemar for blowing spears. But now, big problems for Myriad instead. Voldy is getting the deer home. He's got enough spearmen to protect himself nicely. And we start to reach the stage where if he wants, he could just rush the castle age. Funnily enough, instead, Valdemar is leaning into the feudal And it's almost like the roles are reversed. The Civ that's meant to stay feudal and the one meant to go castle are on the opposite ends here. Myriad rushing the third age.
Is this just a bait and switch? Is my question.
Is this just Guildhall?
Is this a calculated risk? Or is it a bad read?
I think he misplayed the knights, and although his intent may have been castle age, he put himself in a more fragile state. And there is a layer of gambling that just occurred here, because if Valdemar had kept pushing forward with the spears, Myriad would be dead. He wouldn't have gold access. But I think this is Guildhall, and I think Myriad is looking for a gradual Red Palace Sacred Site win condition.
Yeah. Guildhall coming through, and Valdemar being a little bit too passive here. Not really scouting what's going on. Might have a sense of it, but now Valdemar needs to change, right? He's invested into enough units to actually defend himself properly in feudal versus these knights, right? They're not going to be pseudo imperial. They're just going to be normal veteran royal knights, which it's not really normal, but I digress. But the onion walls has come up. Look at the walls that is happening right now for Valdemar. What could have been almost an age up in terms of just resources being traded at the Guildhall, or sorry, the Golden Gate, has been invested into walls just to secure himself to actually be able to age properly. And Myriad, he's just throwing away. That might be too... Oh my god, that...
It keeps happening. It's the second time, and this one even a bigger folly. I mean... The interesting thing is, like, Myriad had a play where he could have potentially just swapped into Mass Horseman. He hasn't started prepping for it at all, so... I think instead, Myriad's likely going to be prioritizing the Monastery drop into Monk Rush, which gives an opening for Valdemar to punish him.
The Fast Imperial. Red Palace drop in the middle.
I mean, that's what I figured he was going for, but I don't actually think it's that good.
No, I don't think so either. I mean, it sounds silly. Might work?
In the current meta, with the changes to Siege, it's not that good. And yeah, so this high trade house actually doesn't hurt him as much as you think, because you can see by the corner there that it wasn't like a perfect cutoff, right? You've got two trees on either side that would have blocked him embedding it fully in the corner. So like, he loses a little bit of gold, but not as much as you would think here. I've noticed this before, like that's probably the brutality of RNG for Ruse. Boohoo, they have to get like a 240 gold high trade house instead of a 260 gold one. What a hard life.
Oh no. Anyway.
Only 3 relics instead of 3.5? Wow.
Amazing. So Myriad is actually now doing a little bit of a switch up, right? He's switching into a lot of the trees, which and Veteran Sea Horseman actually. This is kind of okay, right? Like Myriad, he realizes that this is just such a good unit. It's wild, right? And fighting into Spearmen as well is just amazing because of that +5 melee armor.
Yeah, and it's a fairly healthy comp to go for. Like, the expectation usually these builds, you go Knights, Horsemen cost half that, so you can afford Arbalest in their place. This is the correct approach. You're going to have the answer to Horse Archers early, and there's going to answer later. But Valdemar isn't going Horse Archers. I think he understands the timings just don't make sense to this. Instead, we're seeing him go for infantry comp. That's not going to favor him, though. Crossbows versus Arbalest is very much a French-favored affair.
Absolutely. These spearmen, they're not even getting upgraded, right? So we're kind of just going to be fighting these units with feudal spears, which is not ideal. Like even veteran spears versus arbitrary kind of suck already. So this is kind of like where it's very awkward position, right? Like, okay, what do you do here? Do you try to fight for the middle, get the timer ticking? Do you take relics? What is your option here, right?
Well, it's Valdemar. You rush relics. Like, the map is wide and Arbalists are not, so you just need to exploit that. Instead, I feel like he's looking to challenge the center, and I just don't like that. I think that's something that's going to play into the French's hands.
So he actually chooses to take the Sacred Site instead of taking the relic home, so starts that timer ASAP.
It's extra gold. It also now doubles the fort of Valdemar going center instead of flank. There's like a mind game element with this map. King of the Hill being a one sacred site map forces that. So like the moment you've had it in your games, right? Like you play a game and you hear the dong of the sacred site being captured, you look, right? And if it's against a Delhi, for example, you start to think about how that impacts the game. It's kind of like that for every civ on this map because there's only one, and it can be entrenched very easily.
Yeah, but the mass here, though, for Valdemar, I don't think that Sacred Timer will be surviving for quite much longer. I think you just take this one decisive fight. Arbitria does just get the upgrade. Pavis being used here as well. The mass here, I think, is just too great for Valdemar to actually be, reasonably take this fight as Myriad. He's just going to be losing his entire
Myriad,
mass here.
what? Okay, so the idea of Pavis is smart, but the way he done that did not look so. The problem he has there is Pavis makes sense when the crossbows are attacking you. The moment he sent the horsemen north, instead of starting to start a step the opposite away so that the spearmen weren't killing him, he stood his ground still. That was the slip up there. That could have been a fairly even exchange if he started to back off a little bit earlier. So instead, Valdemar gets the decap, gets control of the hill here. He already has stone gathering. We're looking at a keep drop at about 17 minutes for Voldy.
There is a little bit of room here to say that might be a 2TC, right? Look at the eco count, right? French now almost 10 villagers ahead will be shortly because of that French eco bonus, right?
Yeah, but if you do that, then the red palace drop, right? Like, Valdemar knows, he can see by the fact that there wasn't Lances, there wasn't Knights, there wasn't Royal Bloodlines. This is very clearly Guildhall. So if you do go 2TC, you are giving Myriad a second shot at the King of the Hill moment.
So, yeah, a lot of gold gathering, not a lot of food gathering. That guild hall is on wood, right? So any second, or well, I shouldn't say any minute, any 2 minutes now, there is going to be a guild hall that's going to be popped, and then we're going to be getting that red palace being dropped. If it's going to be defensive, if it's going to be aggressive, it's kind of hard to say. If we're going to get to that point at all,
I don't
it's a
think
bigger
we do.
question.
Yeah, like, I mean, he needs an army to defend that tech up. This is way too many crossbows. He'll die if he tries to tech. Sacred Site now locked in. The stone's still gathering, so definitely looking like we're getting a keep drop. Valdemar, I honestly think you stop gathering stone and just put more on food and gold. Like, this is your kill point. This is your win condition. Myriad is barely alive. Pull the plug. Make sure that comatose patient never wakes up.
Yeah, guild hall needs to be popped now just to start getting any resources, right? He's out of food, so he needs to get something that actually just defends him, because he will never be able to get to the point. And Red Palace drop in his own base, potentially an option, but at that point you've taken so much eco damage that you can't really justify giving away. Oh my god, that's
okay.
That's not a sacred side keep. That's not a sacred side keep.
Yeah, but good guy Valdemar's like, you can't afford a castle yourself. You're French, man. You're meant to get discounts. This is embarrassing. Let me do it for you. Let me end this series the way we started it in that game #1.
You know what he should have done, Valdemar? I have a petition for you to cancel that keep and drop it where you normally would place a French keep.
Just let me give you that efficiency. Oh, what do you mean we can't share buffs? Well, looks like the remaining Arbalists are making their way towards that tree line, and Myriad is witnessing his hands making their way towards his face to cry. This did not happen so frequently. The kid probably keep dropping enemies more than any other pro player we have in the scene.
At least this game, the castle and the keep will go up before the GG is handed over. Isn't that right? Right? Still some room. Okay, it's gonna go up. Sacred timer still ticking. Income for Myriad in the ground.
Yeah,
it's just no comeback room for Myriad, it feels like.
Yeah, like Valdemar doesn't even need to siege this down to end the game. Like what he could have done is like added in a few Raxes right next to the keep just to go into the tree line, right? Instead we now have Rams getting added in. I mean, Myriad, like looking back at this, I think it was just a slip up in the early game. The Knight, too many of them died carelessly, not getting anything. He actually started this off really well. I think Valdemar was in an uncomfortable position. What Myriad lacked is a transition into archers. You know, if you're not going to focus very hard on microing the Knights, just take the easy dub via archer massing. It's not a bad idea as well. If Roost do end up rushing fast castle, you counter the horse archers by blobbing archers.
He's going to be targeting down production now as well, just making sure that there's no units. Can't reasonably house your opponent, might as well just take these. Rams gonna be coming in. You have so much wood, you're Roost, you're getting bonus wood anyways. Might as well just spend it on some Rams. Just get it through. This is just a slow bleed, and Myriad just trying his best, just hoping that Valdemar's PC just crashes.
Yeah, he's like, I mean, you know, the Danes, like, the bills are pretty high. Maybe he didn't pay his electricity bill this month. Maybe he's like, you know, it's winter as well, so maybe his heating bill is too high. Maybe he just can't afford it anymore. Valdemar's like, God damn it, I can afford it just long enough. I need to win this tournament.
Double Siege Workshop, double Trebuchet. I think even if this keep goes down, it doesn't really matter.
It really doesn't. Like, the Obelisk should beat crossbows, but within reason, right? It's like, Spearmen beat knights if you have the right count. Same here. The Obelisk can't really front line against this many spears and crossbows. So, Ram's just going to move in to block out the production. Means that Valdemar is going to be cruising on deeper. I believe just one series after this away from qualifying the main event of EGC Masters Winter.
Guildhall still not unpopped. I believe it's starting to hit that 2000 mark now. Arbitria, Pavi is being used there, but I don't think it realistically matters. These stroke points, the Horseman is not able to, and the Concave is starting to happen as well, which means, well, Myriad gonna be tapping out. It is GG. Valdemar onto the round of 8.
And he will be matching up. The kid will be going up against the grandpa himself. Valdemar versus Kiljardi to decide who will make it through to EGC Masters Winter's main event. Myriad, better luck next time. There is a second qualifier, second opportunity, but this one will be feeling a little bit rough. The Ottoman game will at least give him some inspiration, but definitely going to have to dig deep because there's still a lot of talented players that have already been eliminated that will be looking at that Sunday event as well.
Yeah, and I think there's a little bit of a sigh of relief for Valdemar. I think that second game, just like the tenseness in his body, kind of just like I feel like it kind of just like finally just he was able to relax this game. It was a nice easy breeze. Myriad maybe a little bit on the back foot on that one, but commemorations to Myriad. We will see him tomorrow. I am sure of it.